So my presentation, I have titled it Neighbourhoodization and Smallification. These two words you will not find in any dictionary, but we want that these two words gain currency because these two concepts are very, very important. If you want to have a society where people talk to one another on equal footing, a society where people participate in governance, in decision making, and all that, if people want to have a kind of a just and peaceful world, these two words are very, very important. Smallification and neighborhoodization. And then with regard to smallification, I don't need to say much to sociocratic groups, because as one of the four principles of sociocracy, a principle of small circles. So the small circles are very, very important. And we project a new dream for a new world order, and we give 5 principles. The first principle is smallness. Smallify the structures where you participate. And now, why small? We have a principle. The bigger a forum, a talking forum gets to be, the more the small voices of small people get drowned. Then, when it is a big forum, only the big people can talk. So, what we see normally in our democracy, people don't have forums where they could come and talk. The only thing that democracy now offers is a kind of a token forum. That means, once in 4 years or once in 5 years, you come and have your say. And then where will this fellow go and have a say? They say, we give you electoral constituencies. Once in 5 years, you can come for an election. With that, this participation is over. But even in this election, does he really talk? Here in India, we have very, very big constituencies for elections. We have state level election constituencies, nearly 400,000 people. And then we have parliamentary election constituencies where we have nearly 200,000 people. Now, when these people can people come together really in a big forum like that? They cannot come together. They cannot know one another. They cannot talk to one another. They cannot exchange opinions. All they can do, they say, no, they will present 2 candidates, a main candidate, opposing candidate. You choose between the devil and the deep sea. Both of them you may not like. So people don't have a say now, actual say, effective say in the present democracy. So as long as this remains, people remain powerless. And then we say, if people are to have their problems solved, they should have some power. And then, what do you mean by power? We say, to have power is to have an effective say. I say something and it matters, that means I have power. If people are to have their problems solved, if they are to be powerful on that account, they must be able to have an effective say. But to have an effective say, they need forums. That our present day democracy does not give those forums, wherein people could come, sit together, talk, and discern together, arrive at consensus or consent together. It doesn't offer. So if the present democracy has to act in such a way that the people are really the rulers, the important, the powerful, it must ensure that people have forums that are small sized. So we envision a world where the whole world is organized as small sized forums. There we are in full agreement, full appreciation for the sociocracy principle of smallness of forums. And then we say, if these forums are to be effectively and inclusively organized in such a way that everybody is included, as if in a governance process, then we say these forums have to be neighborhood based. Being neighborhood based is the only way we could ensure that everybody is included. And so we project as one of our main principles, neighborhoodization. Get the whole world organized as neighborhood forums and small-sized forums. Only when you have this base foundational structure will the people be able to have an ongoing, effective, organized say. So this way we project that dream, as I was mentioning earlier, 5 principles we were giving initially. One principle is the smallness, small-sized neighborhood forums, and then we say we must have a world where the entire world, not only at the base, gets organized as small-sized forums, but at every level of the governance. So we have in India various levels, like, just now I had my deputy prime minister, child prime minister of the nation. You see, he was with me, and somebody asked me, how many levels do you have? And this fellow, if he has to become a deputy national child prime minister, he has to begin from the neighborhood forum. And then these neighborhood forums get federated, linked together through representative structures, representatives at the level of the village, or what we call ward. And then these village level parliaments or talking forums, they have to be linked at the 3rd level, which we call local governance unit level. And then next comes the sub-district level, district level, then comes the state level, and then the national level. And at each of these levels, we insist the forum should be small. How small? We say everybody should be able to sit together in one circle with nobody in the second round, and must be able to talk without a microphone. In such a forum, everybody is somebody, everybody is seen, and everybody is taken seriously, given attention, listened to, and everybody can articulate, and everybody can make his contribution to the decisions. So that's the discussions and decisions. And so we want this kind of structures as a part of a new world order, neighborhood forums and small-sized forums at every level. Then what's the advantage? When we say, when it is small-sized forums at every level, one need not wait for 4 or 5 years till the next election comes to call back a representative, one elected from one's level to the level immediately above. So one of our principles is recall sport. Anytime, because of the small-sized forum structures, anytime when one is not happy with the performance of a person whom one elected from one's level to the level immediately above, they can call the small forums together and then decide to call him back, call her back, whatever. So at every level, people who elected their representatives can call back their representatives to the level immediately below. Then the whole structure remains answerable to the man at the base, to the person at the base. And if the power, the chain, in the reign of power in the hands of the people at the base, And if the power is really in the hands of the people, then their problems will be solved and their poverty will be addressed. And if there any unfair treatment will be attended to be and and remedied. And this way, we could have a world where the government is really accountable and answerable to the people, and they keep alert because they know they will be called back anytime. And so our principles, one, besides this neighborhoodization, smallness, and then next we say numerical uniformity at every level, small size, and then we include also what we call subsidiarity. Subsidiarity means lowest level action. That means if anything can be solved at any low subsidiary level, don't take it to any high or main level. If anything can be solved at any periphery or decentralized level, don't take it to centralized level. So we give the principles. The higher levels deal with only those matters that no lower level can handle. This would mean that most of the decisions will have to be taken on the base, and when they have to take decisions, what happens? They will have to consult everybody, and everybody is consulted means everybody feels valued, everybody feels that he is somebody, someone who matters, and he is affirmed, so he is happy, people are happy. So I will ask them, how do you feel when you are consulted? They say we are happy, then make them see to it that everybody is happy like that. So this will be the approach for the dream that we have mentioned based on neighborhoodization and smallification. And then we give one or two more principles. And one of the principles we give is also convergence. Convergence means we say you can organize these neighborhood parliaments or neighborhood forums, or you can call neighborhood circuits. But organizing it, we see how do we sustain it. Then we say the best ways to sustain any organization is to see to it that has enough things to perform, enough roles to play, enough activities to do. Then they really stay together, they sustain. And when they come together often like this, to discuss, to make decisions, to act and so on, they get more and more glued together, and they develop a kind of a weak feeling, a sense of powerful collective identity, a kind of a collective ego. And that's a healthy thing. And when they are sufficiently adequately reinforced with that weak feeling, collective ego, the collective identity, they will not allow anybody to bypass them. So, why didn't we ask? We are here, no. Now, that kind of a thing doesn't happen now in the present day democracy, because once the election is over, they are helpless. They never meet, they never discuss, they never decide together, they never act together. So this is the helplessness of the people. And as long as this helplessness remains, they will be taken for a ride and fooled every 4 or 5 years with all kind of promises and tamasha like that. And then the story will go on. So this is the dream that we are projecting. When we are projecting this dream, some people wrote back to us and asked, have you heard about sociocracy? And then sociocracy that time was something new for us. And then we went hunting for sociocracy. And then we read literature related to sociocracy, and we found we had much in common. So we worked together. So the smallification of sociocracy and the territory-based neighborhoodization of our movement clicked together like that. So that will be the basis. Now, in all of them, sorry. Now at every level in our neighborhood movement, the elections are sociocracy based. I had with me a boy here, and just now he has gone out. He is the National Deputy Child Prime Minister. How did he get elected? Through the sociocracy process only. Our children know sociocracy now. And we have this neighborhoodization process. How did we go about? We start children's neighborhood parliaments and federate them at various levels. And we form youth neighborhood parliaments, get them federated at various levels. We form also adults, grown-ups neighborhood parliaments and federate them at various levels. And we have very good examples with regard to this neighborhoodization. In our neighboring state, for example, they have 286,000 neighborhood groups of women. And they are federated at the next water level and at the local governance level. And then the same state is now going also for local governance structures based on neighborhood. They say first neighborhood assembly, they call it, and then next comes the ward level assembly, and then comes the panchayat, they call local governance structure. These are all good beginnings, and we keep sharing this dream everywhere. And happy, some of our best supporters now are sociocracy, teachers and sociocracy consultants and so on. So this is more or less what I want to share. Any question you could ask.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, sure.
Sure. I would like to be able to read something about all this. There's so many numbers and there's so many things I would like to. I find this story fantastic, but I'd like to add some documentation to share. Where can you send us a link to something where we can find some good documentation on it?
Sure. I could now type and send the thing not through. I do that. Chat. One link, yeah.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
No. This is not it.
This is one.
Wait a minute. I just have to find.
Yeah, I will give another one.
I don't see it in the chat, sorry.
Yeah.
Is it in the chat somewhere?
Yeah, in the chat only I'm now giving now. I'm tapping and giving now.
Okay.
Do you find it?
No, sorry.
It's probably shared privately, not to everyone.
Okay, just let me see how it is now. I think it goes to Ted.
Yeah, just
so far. I think it goes privately out. What's the way out now? Let me see. I don't know the technique for that. I see chat and it goes only to so far. Anyway.
I'm on it. I'll copy it to everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, I find it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And will I have access to this chat stuff when we close the conference, or how can I copy from this? Or
you should be able to just select and copy right now. Oh, and I'm also going to put our video that we made, the interview with Edwin in here. Oh, there's a typo in there. Hold on.
I could also simply make a sweep. Here, okay, if I just do like this, ping.
Okay, For time being, I circulate these things. 4 links. One of them is right now, the last one. Right now it is not functioning, within 1 or 2 weeks it will be alive again. That's the most important one with regard to the clarity of the concept. www.neighbourhoodization.org.
A lot of stuff published.
Pardon? Lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then our TED has done some good work. We have been having a video interview with me, and she has been circulating that. And then, yeah, when you go to YouTube also, you will find more videos. And then we have very interesting photos to share. I think which already it has been shared by so far. And where now we have this neighborhood parliaments of children, neighborhood circus of children in schools. So we go to schools and get all the children organized as neighborhood circles or neighborhood parliaments. And in each of these parliaments, there are almost all the children are made ministers. And we bring in all the sustainable development goals, 17 sustainable development goals of the United Nations as to ministries. That means, each unit of 30 children will have 17 ministers to represent 17 sustainable development goals and other ministers. So once a week they meet as neighborhood-based, territory-based neighborhood parliaments. The week after, all the children go to their respective ministries and they have theme-based ministry meetings. And the week after, they come back again to territory-based parliaments. So a kind of 1 week territory-based response and the other week theme-based inputs. This way it goes.
I have a question.
Sure.
So this is extremely impressive.
Thank you.
So what's the secret? Why does it work so well in India? Why does it work so well in your culture?
One thing I wouldn't say it has been easy thing for me to do, because I started some 40 years back. It was a kind of an upward struggle. But somehow I was fully convinced about that. So those began to see the value of it. And what I also did, I was in one village for 5.5 years. And when I was there 5.5 years, I could show in practice what project in theory. And they could see that something is happening. And when they saw something is happening, I think nothing sells like a success story that is being put into practice. And then, see, I started in one parish and the neighborhood and the neighboring diocese, they would say, why don't you introduce that in our diocese? So from one village, I go to one big diocese and they accept the principle and they organize in no time 2,600 units. And then comes, the government sees that people are coming together. That it was the capital city of that particular state. The government was there seated and they were thinking, what's happening now? People are coming together in thousands of groups once a week. So this is where we adapted. And then they have started neighborhood groups of women, and that also was a slow upward struggle for them. But since it was government was behind, it was little easier. So it was started in one town and they expanded to one district, and then later on it was expanded as a state policy to the entire state. So when it is state, the whole state machinery is functioning. And then they started with what people feel most about their economic needs, their poverty and things like that. So it was started as a poverty eradication program. That means people could come together, discuss about their problems and needs, and then find solutions, start income generation programs, have a small savings program, and then credit programs and marketing programs. So all put, and the government also was trying to share with them as much responsibility as possible, involve them in the process when it comes to various welfare schemes. So all this gave to them a kind of sense of worth and importance. You see, in India, what was happening, this was initially started, this poverty eradication program, as a women's program. And in India, where it was being started especially, these women were not supposed to go out and freely mingle and socialize and things like that. So they were homebound. And then when these groups came in, men were against, because women were becoming free. And then they resisted that. Then they saw that something worthwhile is happening. These women were bringing, profit, money, income to the family. The family is becoming happier. And so they also supported that. And then later on, government thought this could be extended also to men, and then not merely to the poor, also to others. So they said, why not we make it a neighborhood governance process? So neighborhood assemblies of both men and women, rich and poor, came as a part of the governance structure in Kerala. Kerala is the state. And now government has given clear directives on how to make these things function. And so now other states and other nations are coming to study that there. So that the message gets traveling, and we could see that something will come about in various other places too. It is best poised to project a new dream for a deeper democracy to the whole world. So there's a process. So we know what we say. If you believe in one thing, go ahead, do, and then have some small success story, and that convincing it travels in various ways.
I think Franz would like to ask a question, and there is also one question in chat. Franz, I saw you signaling.
Yes, I live in Denmark, and we have a pretty well-functioning democracy, and people are not very positive towards sociocracy, actually. And I was wondering if it's a success parameter that you are sufficiently desperate or something, that if the need is bigger, you could be more willing to take the risk of doing some things different. What do you think of that, Edwin?
No, could I understand the question a little more?
What I'm saying is that to be willing to change,
okay,
you either have to have a very positive expectation or be very desperate.
Yeah, okay.
And I was wondering, how desperate are you in India? Because you seem to be working much better with sociocracy than we are able to do in Denmark. We're not so desperate here. Is that possible?
No, I think it is possible, because people are seeing the need for a better system where they also could feel that they belong as equals and partners, rather than merely depend on these people who make all kind of promises once in 5 years like that. In the States, for example, while I was there, I was talking to people. They were also feeling the need. They said, we are taken for a ride during the elections. And then this will give us more control. But Denmark particular situation, I would not know until I come and study more about it. Now I am going to Spain Last month and last December, I was in Portugal.
Mm.
They show a lot of enthusiasm. Now they're inviting me to Peru also. They show a lot of enthusiasm. And they see that there should be a way where people could meet as people, the whole world could meet as people who decide together rather than project themselves one against the other, competing, your border, my border, like that. And when you have a global structure like that, it should not be again the game of a few globally big people. It should also be a game of the people at the base, ordinary people. Everybody must feel that he is somebody, he belongs, he is valued, he is equal. It's a struggle, but people will see that. As I said, when I started talking, they were calling me mad. This impractical, it won't happen, they said. But somehow it happened, and even without me doing anything, it's spreading. Not that I went and started all these things. Somehow it clicked.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. What our director says now, don't do much, he says. We have a society we call Neighborhood Community Network, and we have a good director now. He says, don't do much. We won't ask you to do much. All we ask you, he says, you start your own neighborhood of about 30 families. One neighborhood you make, that will be enough, he says. When you give enough attention to that one neighborhood and make it function well, others get attracted and the dream travels. Because they want to see that it works and see the benefits of it working, and they will be motivated to do something. But that one building, one neighborhood is very, very important, because otherwise they think we are talking in the air. And when so many people start one neighborhood, things become easy. So all I ask today, the same way, start one neighborhood around your house and give full attention to that, and things will change.